record to the cloud. There we go. Okay. Alrighty, so for people that didn't get to watch the Zoom meeting last week, we're just kind of going to go over, this is for a product Zoom to kind of explain what ReAction is and what true full spectrum is. And, you know, we're going to do a star product, I think is what we decided to call it. We're going to, you know, talk about one product more in depth each Zoom, so we have something to talk about each time. So one thing I do want to go over on what is ReAction and what is true full spectrum, because I think it's really important. I'm probably not going to go as in depth as terpenes, flavonoids, and fatty acids last time, but what ReAction is, it's a true full spectrum, so it contains everything out of the hemp plant. And when I say everything, it's not just full of cannabinoids. It has terpenes, flavonoids, fatty acids, cannabinoids. It has traceable amounts of THC. And when you put all this together, it maximizes your benefits of everything. So with a true full spectrum, you also get something called homeostasis. And homeostasis is when everything in your body gets balanced out. So it honestly, homeostasis is pretty much what everybody's body does need, because, I mean, everybody has something, and you can go down a list of anxiety, stress, insomnia, depression. So that's really, really important. And with these products and how they're extracted, so they're extracted through an ethanol extraction processing, and it's all customized to make sure that everything is extracted through the hemp plant. So with that being said, it's broken down into something called nanotechnology. And nanotechnology means that it's broken down to where your body will absorb 100% of it. So other, you know, CBD oil like isolates and broad spectrum, distillates, all those CBD oils, when you're consuming those, your body's absorbing around 30 to 50% of it. So you're not really getting fully the potential that you think you are when you're taking a normal CBD oil. So that's one of the biggest things. And another thing that, you know, what's really important about this company is how it's extracted and everything that they go through to make sure that the quality of the product is to the highest standards. They actually have farmers that are under strict guidelines on everything in the soil that has to be tested, not just the normal stuff like metals and lead and all this different stuff they test. They test for a wide variety of stuff that you wouldn't even think about, you know, testing in with soil. So that's why they have the farmers under a strict guideline, just to make sure that it grows exactly to the standards that, you know, we should hold with a product. And we actually have people that manage the entire grow, get it tested regularly while it's growing. And then also with the extraction, everybody knows that the machinery is literally built around this to make sure that it takes everything out of the plant. So with this company, we control everything from the seed to the bottle to you, which is extremely important in cases like these with a true full spectrum. So one thing I wanted to go over with, and I think it's really important, is to talk about what's different. So the full spectrum, the isolate, the broad spectrum. So how to tell the difference in, you know, the products that are claiming they're full spectrum or what other people are on. Because I've seen a lot of people that, you know, are going around and saying, well, I'm already on a CBD oil. Well, I think this should help a lot of people to be able to look at the bottle and say, oh, this isn't a full spectrum. So I want to go over what a broad spectrum is. So some tips on how to tell a broad spectrum isn't a full spectrum. So some people do claim that they're a broad spectrum. Some people claim it's a full spectrum, and really it is a distillate or a broad spectrum. So broad spectrum is almost like a yellowy oil. So as you can see, it kind of has a yellowish tint to it. Sometimes it's a little bit darker if it's steeping or not. You see it better on my hand. But some tips to tell it's a broad spectrum, that it does not contain THC. So there's a lot of oils out there that say they're a full spectrum, but they have no THC in it. Well, right there's your clue that it's not a true full spectrum. A lot of the times, like Rachel Atkins does this a lot. She looks up the website and goes and looks at the oil, which is a really smart thing to do if the bottle doesn't have any description on it. You can go and look at the website and see what kind of extraction process they're using. So there's a lot of different extraction methods to, you know, taking the CBD out of the hemp plant. So one of the biggest ones that I see is a CO2 extraction processing. CO2 extraction processing isn't actually fully capable of taking everything out of the hemp plant. That's why it only gets it to a distillate, and they usually have to go through cold presses and different methods to even get it to an isolate. So it's not even actually fully capable of receiving everything out of the hemp plant. So when you see CO2 extraction, right then and there, you should probably know that it's not going to be a true full spectrum. So we went over the color, the THC, if it's a CO2 extraction. Those are right then easy ways to know that it's not a true full spectrum. Then we're going to go over what an isolate is. So an isolate is one cannabinoid out of the entire plant. So it's the one molecule CBD, and it's more of a white color. So it's pretty clear. Yeah, not white. Clear. It's a clear color, and sometimes it has a yellowish tint to it, just depending on the flavoring. Steeping means it sits, so sometimes it changes a little bit darker. And what an isolate is, one cannabinoid, and how you can usually tell is their base carrier oils. If it's an isolate oil, it either has propylene glycol or vegetable glycerin, which either makes it both sublingual and vapable. Why that is because propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin are both food grade, so you can do them sublingually, but also those base carrier oils can make it vapable. So right then and there, you should know that it's an isolate. Also, it has 0 THC in it. So if it has
zero, an isolate is a powder form when they start. Also, it almost looks like white powder when they use when it gets to an isolate, the CBD isolate.
Yeah. So when it's extracted, it becomes a distillate, and then they use usually a CO2 cold press, which makes it into its purest form, which is like a white powder. And then they usually put that into the propylene glycol or vegetable glycerin to, make it into an oil form. And some people actually, they have a different forms of it, like shatters. But usually, if it comes in little rock form, it's not a full spectrum. But those are some just easy tips that you can go on there and tell. And I always suggest whenever you're reaching out to somebody, and I mean, you should honestly reach out to everybody, because these products are extremely powerful, and you don't know, it can benefit almost everybody. So when you're reaching out to them, if they're already saying that they're on a CBD oil, don't let them go. Just ask them, oh yeah, what type of CBD oil, look it up, have them send you a picture. That's extremely important to say, I researched some of your product. That doesn't make them any less of a product, though. I'm not going to sit here and bash broad spectrums and distillates and isolates. They are good products, but they aren't a true full spectrum. It can't give you the homeostasis. It can't give you nanotechnology. So these products definitely are top notch when looking into full spectrum and CBD products. So one of the biggest things that I heard coming up here lately, and I believe you have too, is what the average dosage to start off with. I always tell people to start people off with the average dosage. And here recently, I've had a lot of people say, well, I'm going to start them off a little bit lower, or I'm going to start off small and see, how I feel. I always recommend starting off with the average. And why that is, it's 33.3 milligrams. And with the tincture, that's a full dropper in the morning, full dropper at night at 500 milligrams. If it's capsule, it's 1 capsule at night. So the average dosage isn't a lot of cannabinoids, but it's just to tell if that's what works for your body. And if you start off with the average, so you notice the difference within that first week to 2 weeks of taking it. Some people notice it immediately. Sometimes it takes a little bit, up to 2 weeks. But why I tell people to, start off that way is because that's when it's working wonders for me. See if I can go down lower. And if that works, perfect. It's going to last you longer. It can save you a little bit more money. Or if hey, it works for me in the morning and I'm, still struggling at night, that's when we need to up your dosage. So always try to get everybody to start off on the average. And especially one of the biggest times I see people saying, oh, I'm going to start off small, is usually when you're giving it to a child or your kid. And why that is, I think it's just a perspective that we already have in our lives that, children need less dosage, which is not the case when it comes to, hemp and CBD and full spectrum is not the case. It's what the endocannabinoid system needs. It's not anything to do with weight, nothing to do with size, height, age, has nothing to do with it. The average dosage is amongst everybody.
And then you can adjust it from there after you've
been
on it for a little bit.
Always, I always recommend 2 weeks. And if you're not noticing something by then, which is very unlikely, that's when you can go up in dosage. Or if it's working wonders for you, you can go down and see if that works just as well for you. But always start off with the average. That's one of the biggest things that I see. Another one is the milligram per serving. I think a lot of people are having a misconception that when you get a capsule bottle that says 1,000 milligrams, that there's 1,000 milligrams per capsule. So with products like these, it's not like an Advil or ibuprofen where when it says, 200 milligrams, that doesn't mean per capsule. So 1,000 milligrams in the entire bottle, and each capsule actually is 33.3 milligrams. And it's the same goes for the tincture. When it says 500 milligrams, that's in the entire bottle. So amongst 30 milliliters. So each dropper, you can do the math on it. Easy, simple way to do it on your calculator. One dropper is 1 milliliter. So you can do 500 milligrams divided by 30 and see what each dropper, adds up to. So that's why 500 milligrams is twice a day. It's exactly 33.3 milligrams. And that's one of the biggest things that I do see, because when people are going, like, one capsule, 1,000 milligrams, I'm like, 33.3. It's not a full 1,000 milligrams at once that you're going to be taking. So I think we covered that stuff. One thing that I think is extremely important, and we didn't go over much of it last time, is what the endocannabinoid system is. It's pretty much a crazy thing that practically runs your entire body, and it's extremely important for people, to have a common knowledge on it. So the endocannabinoid system, or what a lot of people call is the ECS, and that's just an abbreviation for the endocannabinoid system. It's made up of a collection of cell receptors and corresponding molecules. Think of cell receptors like a lock on the surface of your cell. So the key to the lock is endocannabinoids. So endocannabinoids are chemicals that tell your brain when to start moving or when to stop moving. So endocannabinoids bind the cells and they relay a message to give your cells a specific direction. So you have two main receptors that are in specific regions in your body. So your CB1 receptors are found in your brain and your central nervous system. And then your CB2 receptors are found in your immune system, your gastrial.
Now I can say it now that you said that. Your gastrial tract.
Your gastrial tract, and then I'm so bad with that word. I was like trying to practice it before this. And then your peripheral nervous system. So as you can tell, like where those receptors are located, how important the endocannabinoid system is for your day-to-day function. It's extremely important because it practically runs everything. So your endocannabinoid system also helps maintain optimal balance in your body, which is called homeostasis, which is what we talked about. Well, these products can give you homeostasis. So it also helps regulate your sleep, appetite, your digestive, hunger, your mood, your motor control, immune function, your reproductive and fertility, your pleasures, your reward, your focus, pain, memory, temperature regulation. So it's extremely important. It practically literally runs everything in your body. So when your endocannabinoid system is disturbed, and things can fall out of balance. So when your body doesn't produce enough endocannabinoids or can't regulate them properly, you're prone to illnesses and disease. So this is why taking a true full spectrum, which is what ReAction is, and giving you something like nanotechnology and cryosonic technology is extremely important. I talk about the endocannabinoid system almost on a daily basis. And so when somebody says, I have anxiety, I'm like, oh, your CB1 receptors. And that's exactly what I think about. And there's easy diagrams. And I always suggest people, the endocannabinoid system is extremely, important thing that to look up, and you don't have to know about, all the terms that I was talking about, but it is important to look up, and it's easy to tell. You can look at a diagram. There's a lot of diagrams on Google. If you just look up endocannabinoid system and push images, and there's diagrams of what receptors control what. So you'll know. But what's awesome about these products is, one fixes all. So with like other products like broad spectrums and distillates, certain, bottles are only aimed for certain receptors in your body. With this, it's everything. It's giving you homeostasis. It's putting your body into the entourage effect. So it's extremely important to just look it up and learn a little bit more about it. So I think you're going to go over the last night's question about the USDA law.
Yes, I believe Rachel brought it to Jeff's attention last night about the new law that was brought out yesterday on the internet last night, actually. And so I'm just going to kind of read what they gave us. Rachel asked a question on last night's Zoom conference, and we felt that it was important to follow up with all of you. To understand and effectively communicate any and all effects the newly proposed USDA laws would have had on our ReAction product line, our legal team thoroughly examined the 161 document released yesterday and found that the proposed laws do not directly affect anything related to our ReAction products and practices. The proposed laws are with regard to the 2018 Farm Bill Act, and more specifically are regulations that affect farmers within the agricultural hemp industry. You've heard Jeff Arbar, VP of Corporate Communications, reiterate the importance of owning and or controlling the entire supply chain, and it's particularly important to know that our exclusively contracted farmers have been not only meeting but exceeding the standards that are just now being proposed. As Jeff mentioned last night, the announcement yesterday was not a surprise, but something that we all knew was coming. We as a company welcome these changes and will continue to advocate for the continued implementation of stronger and more responsible regulations such as these. So there's the answer to the question that was brought up last night, and it's nothing for us to worry about as ambassadors.
Won't affect our products at all. So that's more for a farmer is what it's pretty much focused on. So and that's kind of what I figured last night when I was listening to it, but I didn't know for sure. So we definitely reached out to corporate and wanted to figure out the exact answer for you guys. So one thing that I think I wanted to show you guys, and if you've been in our Zoom conferences, our ReAction conferences in person, we pass around this jar of crude, which is the FSC that are contained in all these products. So just to give you a sneak peek of what actual crude is, and this isn't a black jar, this is just a normal white mason jar. And as you can see, this is, I don't want to get a bunch out of it because I know it's a lot. So this is the true full spectrum. I explain it almost like a black tar. If you don't have this, it's not a full spectrum. So as you can see, it looks black, but once I smear it, it still almost looks black because it's a paper towel. You can see it has green to it. Or if you put it on my hand, I know it's not going to come off if I do that.
It's very sticky.
It's green. Yes, it's very sticky, extremely. So you'll know that it's a true full spectrum when it has the color that, these products have. A true full spectrum should be a green, almost black tar to it. So, that's a big comparison to something like this. Over a little bit, camera. There you go.
And sometimes you might notice that there might be some little black specks in your dropper. That's why we always try to remember, and please try to remember to tell your people when they're taking the product, that it's really important to shake the product up like this before you draw it up. And those, sometimes if you see little black, that's just the crude. It doesn't hurt you. It's not going to do anything. It's not that your bottle is bad. It's just sometimes the crude. And if you just mix it up, you shouldn't have a
Yeah,
problem with that.
just
But we
little
did have someone
molecules and
say something about that once.
little molecules and resin from the actual plant itself. Alrighty, and I hope that question got all summed up about the question that was on the Zoom last night. So for our product
you want to go
of
through
the week,
you want to start
yes,
with
we'll
let's
go
do
through
a
the
quick
product.
summary of everything. For anybody that wasn't on last week, and I don't have 1,000 milligram, but
so
okay, there's that.
We have your ReAction tincture. Tincture is the extraction of the oil. It's something you do sublingually. Sublingually means under your tongue. And why a lot of people say do it under your tongue is because it's the fastest way in your bloodstream. This comes in 1,000 milligrams and 500 milligrams. And they have
flavors.
3 different flavors. Natural, blue raspberry, and honey. So tincture is one of my personal favorites.
And it works the fastest. It gets into your system the fastest. So like in the morning when I get up, I go to the bathroom, I take my tincture. In 10-15 minutes, I'm good for the day. And it does come in a sample. So if somebody just wants to try a sample versus buying a whole bottle, those are available for you to get. And they come in 500 milligrams. And they do come in all 3 flavors, I believe, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. And so you can it's really kind of a good tool for you to have so you can send some products out to your friends or any prospects that you might have.
And then we have the topicals. So the topicals come in 3 different formulas. There's Relief, Revive, and Recovery. So Relief is your pain cream, and then Revive is your like skin cream, like anti-aging, eczema, burns, scars,
bug bites,
pretty much everything. And then your recovery is for like muscle and joint pain. So for people that work out a lot or that are constantly using their muscles and just get sore, those come in or salve. I call it salve because I guess it's a redneck thing. Salve. It comes in salve, which is like a Vaseline for people that don't know what that is. And then it comes in a sample as well. And a lot of people think these are super tiny, and they actually pack in a lot in there. And they'll last you a while.
And so tell people that when they use that, you don't have to squirt a whole bunch out.
Yeah, you don't have to
squeeze
a lot just because it's super packed in there. So you just want to do a little bit at first, and that should be plenty. Yeah. And with those, it is more of an oil base because it is a true full spectrum. So true full spectrum can't be made into a lotion because it's not water soluble. So that being said, that is why it is more oily. So it goes a lot further than what a lot of people think it would. And then we have our edibles, which is, I'm pretty sure my Nana's favorite.
Yes.
She has a sweet tooth.
I want to eat them all every night, but I can't.
So there's chocolate, fudge, and caramel. So each piece has 10 milligrams in it. 10 milligrams of FSD is actually extremely strong. A lot of people think, oh, it's only 10 milligrams. It's pretty potent stuff. So there's different flavors in all of those. With the chocolate, there is chocolate, coffee, strawberry, and orange. And then with the fudge, there is watermelon, chocolate, thin mint, and key lime pie with the graham cracker crust. If I forgot that, Billy would kill me. And then there's caramels, which come in a dark chocolate and milk chocolate. So those all come assorted, 4 in a pack. They're 10 milligrams a piece, so 40 in the pack. They're great for like immediate pain or somebody, if you want to have somebody try it because they've never tried, full spectrum before and want to see how it affects them, or if you're having a bad day, or just to snack on at night.
Just to get relaxed.
And then for our pet, we have a tincture. Same thing works for the animal. You can put it right in their mouth, or you can put it on their food. With my cat, I give it directly on her food. I give her the tincture. Personally, it's a lot easier because she eats wet food, so I just drop it on there in the morning, and I do it at night. Also, Billy's pig and dog both get this as well. His dog can get it on his food, but also in his mouth as well. And then same thing with the pig. It's actually just fun to give it to the pig. So he gets it directly in his mouth. Then there is the pet syringe. So for people that think it's a needle, it's not a needle. It's just a little syringe. This is entire 500 milligrams. So you can either put it on a little treat or a biscuit or put it directly in their food. I wouldn't recommend doing it in their mouth, honestly, just because it is a little bit thicker and you don't want it to get stuck in their fur or anything.
It's very concentrated. And one thing I would tell anybody that bought this, instead of pushing it like you would a syringe, twist it. If you twist it just a little bit, because you just need a little teensy bit on a treat or on the food. So just don't push it because you'll squirt it all out. You just need to twist it.
And then we have our pet salve, which is the same, almost like a Vaseline. So with that, you can apply it on their fur, or if they're hot spots or anything like that, they have, a wound or an area that's really been affecting them, on their paws if they're all torn up and cut up, because I know how that hurts when they're jumping up on you. But you can put that anywhere and it's safe for them to lick, so you won't have any issues like that. You don't have to worry about if they're licking it or not. And
also the salves and the syringes come with phytoplankton.
Yeah.
Which is really, really good for your animals.
We're going to start that product one day.
And now we're going to talk about the star of tonight's show, the capsules.
Oh, pet capsules.
I didn't know if that was going to be like the co-star.
Well, there's pet capsules as well, and we'll talk a little about those. So with the capsules, those come in a 7-day, and they also come in a 30-day supply. So 7 days used for samples that you can give out to people, or people can order a sample. 7-day pills. So as you can see, the pills are like little black.
Oh, I can't even hold them up.
Yeah, because it's angled a little weird. Little black pills. Each one has 33.3 milligrams in each individual capsule. The 1,000-day, with these pills, especially just starting off taking a true full spectrum product, I recommend starting to take them at nighttime. And why that is because they are highly concentrated. So when you do take them and they finally digest and dissolve, that it automatically makes you a relaxed feeling. Not a high, but a relaxed feeling. And then whenever you fall asleep, it helps your body get to REM sleep, which is your deepest sleep. But that's when your body starts to heal. And it's extremely important. So when taking them, I recommend starting to take them at between 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, a normal dinner time. Take one capsule and see, how it affects you. Now there are people that do it during the day and at nighttime, and usually they wait about a week for it to get in their system before they can actually take them in the afternoon or in the morning. Me personally, that's how I started off on it. Having a bad day, took a capsule in the afternoon. I felt kind of drowsy. Once I fought past that 30 minutes of being drowsy, I immediately was over it, and it didn't affect me any throughout the day after that. But the capsules are usually tended to start off as a night capsule. That's why a lot of people do a capsule at night and a tincture in the morning. But to get into a little bit about the capsules, about what is in them. So each capsule, like I said, has 33.3 milligrams of full spectrum. And it also has something called flaxseed oil. So flaxseed oil is, and it's organic, the stuff that they use. Flaxseed oil actually has a lot of homeopathic benefits to it. So I kind of jotted down some notes just so I can go over everything. This is a brief summary. The high omega fatty acids, which are really, really good for you. They're found in the hemp plant. It's also another base carrier oil that they put into it as well. They reduce cancer cell growth, good for your heart health, helps your digestive, helps your skin. It's also an anti-inflammatory, antibacterial. So those are a little bit more benefits that you get out of that as well. And then the omega-3, the benefits to omega, which is the other base carrot oil that they put in the capsules. It's great with, this is all kind of things that it's been known to help with. So it gives you that little oomph that you need. You get on top of having a full spectrum. So depression, anxiety, ADHD, helps with your eye health, brain health. It supports your heart health, supports helping inflammation, supports your autoimmune system, your mental health, like a lot of that has to do like Parkinson's. It's been proven to help with a lot of different things like that. Bone and joint support. So the base carrot oils that they put into the capsules, honestly, they do a lot of research on each thing that they put into them. Like if anybody's ever picked up a bottle of Relief or read a little bit about it and looked up some of those things that are in each capsule or tincture. And the reason that they do that as well is because, if anybody's allergic to what's in the tincture, which is the NCT oil we talked about last week, that you also get a little bit, you can switch off with the capsules. So,
and Ron and I, on our dosage, we do the tincture in the morning and we do the capsules at night. And I will tell you a quick story about Ron. I have to ask Mary Knight, did you take your capsule? Because he usually goes to bed before me. And he's like, yeah. And I asked him, I said, did you take your capsule? And he goes, I'm going to not take my capsule tonight. I'm just going to try to go without it. So the next night was no big deal. The next night I said, did you take your capsule? He says, I came up here at 4 o'clock because I will never do that again. He says, I felt like crap all day long. So Ron never forgets his capsule. And he was able to see the importance in what it was doing for his body. Because I'm constantly telling Ron, I'm like, Ron, you're 60 years old and you treat your body like it's 20 and you're going to have to relax a little bit. So he does a lot of stuff that a 20-year-old will do. And I really think that the products have helped him so he can do the things he does, because he's absolutely amazing. And I'm sure you've seen all the honeydews that I give him all the time. So ReAction has been a big help for Ron. And
it's a lifetime of things.
Yes,
he has a list of stuff to do.
Yes, he's got busy.
And I can definitely see the change in my pappy as well, with at first not being able to lift his arms fully, always asking me, oh, can you rub my back? And actually needing a back rub because his arm, he could barely lift it. And the change in this, I can't tell you the last time he's asked me for a back rub. So one thing that we mentioned at the beginning of the Zoom, so just to let everybody know that kind of jumped in towards the end of it, is about the testimony page. Just want to make sure that everybody knows how important the testimony page, it is up, so you can go check that out at the Feel the Reaction. Look at all the testimonies. If anybody ever asks you, hey, have you guys heard about the testimony for this or this? And you can go on there and go look and see if you have a testimony, and also sharing your testimonies. You can email support and share your testimony, send in a picture if you'd like to, or if you have a friend that has a testimony, ask if you can share that, because testimonies is what this company is based on, and how the word is going to spread and how we can help other people. There's some testimonies that I didn't want to share personally, and thanks to my buddy Jeff, shared it on my Facebook. And honestly, it's helped like 3 other females, which is awesome to hear, because, honestly, wasn't a testimony I thought I would be sharing. But once I did, knowing it helped other people that, were struggling, not even as bad as I was, but 10 times worse, it's pretty amazing. So sharing your testimonies is definitely the way to go. And there's a lot of people that ask me, they want to start the product, they want to try the product, they believe in it, they, believe in me, but they want to know how it's helped other people. Like, somebody comes to me, I have a child with, anxiety and ADHD issues, and comes to me, and I'm like, well, I actually have personal testimonies, but being able to send them to a page with their pictures and proof, because anybody can just make up something, and I feel like people want to see that and be able to relate to it. So it's definitely really important to go on there and email support and share your testimonies.
And you know, another thing, I talked to one of the ambassadors that's in my downline, and I hadn't seen her for about almost 2 months. And we were talking, and we were talking about her testimony. She goes, you know, I just love this product. It's helped my back. It's helped my spasms. It's helped my sciatica nerve. And she had a little age spot on her face, and the Revive, it helped with that. And I told her, I said, you need to put that on your Facebook page as your testimony. I said, because your friends know that you've had, your personal friends have known that you've got, you know, issues with your back and sciatica, and they know that you've been with your age spot. I said, when they see that you're feeling better, they want to know what you're doing. And by putting your own testimony out there, it is very helpful for people around you and people that might just be seeing your Facebook page. But it's also a great way to get people to go to your site, to your mylifesimple.com/Hornaday or whatever your website is, so they can go over there and look at the products. I found some of when I do personal stuff about Ron or I, people are a lot more in tune to seeing that, and I share a lot of the great stuff I see on Facebook, and I try to like every single thing I see because it's really good stuff. I share some of it, but put your own testimonies or your personal family's testimonies on there so your group of friends can relate to that. I think it's really important.
When I was going through my, you know, I made a page, kind of like Billy, you know, inspires everybody to do, is write down a list and, you know, go through your list of people to contact. I was about halfway through my list, and there were some people I went through my contacts, and I'll be honest with you, and I skipped over, and people, my Snapchat and my Instagram and stuff like that I skipped over. I was like, I haven't talked to them in forever, or I don't really talk to them. I posted my personal testimony just on acne, back pain, and anxiety, and the response I got from it, all those people that I skipped over and wouldn't even thought of, you know, reaching out to, all reached out to me. They say, wait, really? You struggle with that? You know, I'm having these issues. Or people that I've known my entire life that I don't talk to on a daily basis opened up to me about stuff that I didn't even know about. So it's definitely really important to share testimonies on there. But I think right now we're going to open up for the Q&A part of this. So if anybody has any questions, you can write them in the chat bar or unmute yourself. So the little microphone where it says mute, if you unclick it when it becomes red, and you can just ask us any questions. And I think Tammy has her hand up. I don't know if you did that on accident or if you have a question.
I got the glasses. I can't see now.
We can read them out.
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Denise Shannon. I heard you talking about the fertility part of the product and how it can help. The product can help with fertility and stuff like that. And I've got some girls that I work with that are really struggling with getting pregnant, and I would like to be able to share some more information with them about this. Can you help me with that?
Yeah, so what I would suggest, so that was with the endocannabinoid system, and that's what, you know, these products do, is it goes and replenishes the body of something that's lacking and equals everything out to make it start working functionally again. But it does help with reproductive and fertility issues, is what the endocannabinoid system controls. So I would suggest doing is, honestly, you know, if you have pamphlets or if you have the Feel the Reaction website, send them to that website and tell them to look it over and read about the products. And what you can do yourself is look up the endocannabinoid system and how it affects fertility and why it controls the fertility, because those different receptors control different things. Like the brain and the nervous system controls, you know, that would be your anxiety. So you would know the one receptors, that's what it's controlling. So I definitely would suggest going on there and explaining, you know, what this does is it gives your body, you know, puts your body into homeostasis. The, you know, the cannabinoid system controls fertility and reproductive. So help make everything, we'll try to help make everything work properly.
It's not a guarantee. You can't go tell them that if you take this, you can get pregnant. but at least they will be able to understand a little more of what the product, how it goes into health. And it might be an alternative, but you can't tell them that this is going to help them to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I completely understand that. I completely understand that. But you know, it's just I feel like the product's amazing, and I feel like it could help. You know, and what do they have to lose?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's
You guys are so informational.
And if at the end of this, we're actually going to share our emails and our Facebooks, and I think we're going to get it. I'm going to write it in the chat bar as well. So if you have any of those questions, you can reach out to us personally and, you know, ask us if she has questions. And I always recommend reaching out to your upline. If your upline doesn't know the question, you can always reach out to us. So that's one of the most important things. If you don't have the answer, we know somebody that will find it for you. So you can either talk to her or you can, you know, send her our way if you have any questions. Our email just got put in your chat bar. So mine's feelthereaction.victoria@gmail. Yours is lindyhornaday32@gmail. So you can always contact us and, you know, ask us about it and all that stuff.
Excellent job, ladies. Very nice.
Alrighty, let's see if there's any more questions on here.
Does anybody have any other questions or concerns, or they have a testimony they might want to share?
Testimonies are important.
I got something.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Ryan, that's Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Hello, how's everybody doing? I'm actually in the car driving right now. But I for the ADHD, you know, situation, I worked at a factory and was terrified to go a single shift without taking my Adderall. And I actually worked 7 12-hour shifts with zero Adderall. I work with heavy machinery and my attention span can be short, and I felt confident in the product. And yeah, it's a taster and the capsules I was taking. So anybody who was struggling with the ADHD thing, it was a big help. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. That's awesome. Glad it worked.
And be careful if you're driving.
It's raining. Alrighty. We got a chat. Oh, somebody thanked Ryan for his testimony. And this product is safe for all ages. That's one thing that, you know, I try to stress to a lot of people and make sure everybody knows that, you know, I get there's, you know, skeptical people out there and people that aren't, you know, they're willing to try it, but they want to know more about it. If you don't know it, that's why we're doing these Zooms, is try to inform everybody on what these products are, because it's extremely important to know about it and know about the endocannabinoid system, know about what full spectrum is, and know how it can affect you, but also, you know, use us. That's why we put in our emails in there. You can contact our Facebook pages if it's personal or just pages alone. Mine's Feel the Reaction by Victoria. You just use your personal Facebook.
Yeah, I have a Feel the Reaction, but
we're working on.
I'm going to get that book that Constance has. That is what is it? Social Media for Dummies and Seniors, and just to see if I can understand a little more. But I tell you, I see the power of those social media sites for this, and they're really very powerful for you to get the products out there. I'm pretty amazed because I didn't come from a generation of social media, so it's been a little harder for me, but I actually kind of have fun.
Yeah.
On it.
So I definitely recommend anybody, if you do have questions about product, is look at, I mean, I go through Facebook all the time to see, oh, is there any testimonies about this? I go to the pages, I go to the groups. If you want to be invited into any of those, just reach out. But definitely, if you can't find the information, the Feel the Reaction page is extremely informational. You can go on there and look about each and every product. testimonies, literally everything to it, COAs, which is the certificate of analysis, the testing behind everything. It's definitely, I recommend going through there and looking at it. If not, reach out to us.
And the videos.
Always feel free. Yes, the new videos are up.
Those are awesome, and you can probably see those on a lot of the different ambassadors' Feel the Reaction pages on the Facebook. But I did just learn this. If you go to the YouTube site where the videos are, and how I get there is I just push on somebody that I see on where it says share. You can post it to your own Facebook or social media site. You can email it, or you can text it to somebody. And those videos are so valuable on being able to explain the product. Use those, go on that YouTube channel and like it, and then share those videos, because those videos are awesome. I really, really like those.
And they're powerful.
Yes, they are.
They're awesome.
Valuable and powerful.
You can use those to your advantage and send them off to people.
And if you're not comfortable like talking to somebody, or you don't feel confident enough in the product, it does all the work for you. Because Victoria and I have decided that we're going to try to go over the products on the Zoom. Our idea behind this is to educate you all about the products. So when you're talking about a tincture, you know what you're talking about. And sometimes you have to hear this a few times before it really makes sense to you. Because I've had, and this has happened to me personally, but I talk to a lot of my ambassadors, and they'll be talking about the tincture and how great it is, and doing a really good job with it. And then a person will ask a question that really throws them for a curveball, and it's almost like they freeze up. And it's like, I always tell people, don't ever be afraid to tell somebody, I don't know the answer to that, but I will get back to you. I've done that so many times, and other things that I've done. Don't answer the question with something you're making up. This is a very important, I'm so passionate about this product, and I've seen so many people, and not in this company, but in other parts of this industry, that they don't know what they're talking about. They talk a bunch of mishmash to people, and when you have an opportunity to change somebody's life, and maybe get them off opiates for fibromyalgia, or to help them with anxiety, and you answer a question wrong because you just want to sell the product, that's all you have in your mind, you could ruin it for that person to ever want to try this product. So if you have a question, if someone asks you a question and you don't understand it, tell them that you will get them the answer, and then be sure after you get the answer, whether you call one of us or corporate or somebody in your upline, then get back to that person and give them the answer that to the question. I think that is that's probably the most important thing to me.
Absolutely.
Is to make sure that if you don't know the answer, find the answer and tell the person you'll get back to them. And I think your person asking the question will appreciate that, and it'll just make you understand the product better. I just think that that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So if anyone had any more questions for tonight?
Hey ladies, it's Rachel.
Hey.
And the dogs in the background if you're barking. Liam had his tincture, don't worry. They love it, by the way. We have two of three Shilohs that will lick the tincture out of their mouths. Like they would drink the whole bottle. But anyhow, I guess I just wanted to say this is an awesome thing that you're doing, number one, with the product side of things weekly. Number two, the capsules are, bar none, my top reselling item of all times. Like David and I think we would literally cry tears of I don't know what if you got rid of the capsules.
Yeah.
It's funny because I did the tincture during the day sometimes, and now I find I need the tincture less because of I think what the capsules are doing. I have testimonials to upload. I haven't done them yet. I've just been busy, but I do. And I know I've got a few ambassadors on this call tonight listening in that could upload testimonials that are galore. Unbelievable what these products have done. And I really don't have any questions because I've learned along the way since joining since June. You guys have been awesome. I email support and you respond within a couple hours. Very curious how this pet line is integrating into our life, because like our one Shiloh had calluses and I was using the Revive on his calluses, which on his elbows, that is. And I have a testimonial to upload from the Revive on his callus. I have not tried the Pet Salve yet on his callus. Could you talk a little bit about, if we've been giving them natural human tincture versus Revive salve or salve, as however you want to pronounce it?
It's
Salve.
salve. It's salve.
Salve.
S-A-L-V.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a wrong way to go, truthfully. I mean, because I remember before the pet line that our products were safe for animals too, right? They're all natural.
Yeah. I was giving my animals the exact same thing before I actually switched off to them for their pets. Pretty much what the big difference with the pets is they add a little bit more to it, more stuff to it. The phytoplankton, that is actually really good for animals, and they add a little bit of that in there, just to make it more aimed for pets and more homeopathic, kind of just like the exact same way that with the oils they use MCT oil. And if you were last week's Zoom, that's why we went over it so much, talking about how MCT oil, all the benefits to it, the homeopathic stuff about it. So that's kind of what differentiates the pet versus the human stuff. I wouldn't recommend anybody trying the pet, because I have.
I gave Ron the
I didn't
tincture
like
by
it.
accident. I said, "Here's your." He says, "Where's the tincture?" And I didn't look. I just handed him the bottle, and he put it back on the counter. And pretty soon, I was like, I look at the counter, and I thought, his tincture is on the bathroom sink. I looked up there, and I could see those little white doggies there, and I went, "I'm not telling him. I'm not telling him." Just took the pet, and he didn't start barking or anything like that. So. Don't anybody tell Ron that he occasionally takes the pet tincture and he doesn't even know.
That's really funny.
Yeah, so that's kind of what makes it a little bit different with the pet salve. It's the same thing. They do the phytoplankton in there as well. So, and they kind of take out a little bit of the stuff that's in the actual Revive cream. So some stuff, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, they made it more pet friendly, but
more
you know
pet
what?
friendly for.
I put Revive. I was putting Revive, and I saw several testimonies of people putting Revive on their animals before the pet salve came out. So, sometimes my dogs get the pet, and sometimes they get the real. It just depends on whatever bottle's on there. But
So does Ron.
So does Ron. But I have to tell you that the pet line has really helped with my older dogs. And like I've told people before, the tincture is not going to make my 17-year-old dogs live another 10 years. And that's not the reason I'm giving it to them. I'm giving it to them because I want them to have quality of life. I'm getting up, their joints and stuff. And this has made a huge difference in how they get around. And I have some videos on my Facebook of Lucy chasing Sammy around. Now Larry, he tries to chase around, but he's kind of
fat.
he's kind of a goober. But it has made a big difference. Both my dogs cough really bad, and this has helped with them with their coughing. So I love the pet line. My dogs don't really suffer from any hot spots or anything like that. So I have put relief on their hips because they got so much fur. It's kind of hard to get it on there, but I try to sometimes put a little relief on their hips. But either one is really
I started
okay.
My cat with the just natural tincture. I finally did it because I have a Himalayan cat
That's a princess.
My baby. And I was never a cat person until I got a cat. And she was the runt of all the little kitty cats, and she was extremely sick when we got her, because turns out she wasn't the real age that they said she was when we got her. So she got extremely sick, and she's always been extremely small, very sensitive to everything. Cat litter, she will like pretty much sound like a duck running around the house. Like, I have to be very careful with anything that I do, how I clean stuff, what stuff smells like. If I spray perfume, you're gonna start hearing her sneeze and sound like a duck for the rest of the night. So I've been very careful with that, and finally I was like, you know what, I'm going to try this ReAction with her. You know, I preach about it, and I believe in the product, so why haven't I done it? So she's been always a really small cat, and I've always taken her to the vet. Some vets say, you know, she's normal weight. Some people say, you know, she could gain a little bit more weight for being an indoor pet. So finally I started giving it to her. I said, you know, why not? So I gave her a full dropper in the morning, and like I said, she's petite, and I started off with the average dosage, and she ate all of her food that day, which is not normal for her because she usually eats a little bit of it. I have to be there holding her hand the entire time if she's going to eat it all. She eats wet food, so it gets thrown out afterwards because if it's hard, she doesn't eat it. And I started doing a full dropper in the morning, full dropper at night, eating her entire plate, licking it clean, pretty much begging for more food. And she gained a lot more weight, not overweight, just helped, I think, maintain her weight and, you know, fix whatever, you know, she had going on. And her allergies pretty much almost went away. We went camping that weekend, and I took her outside. I can't even walk my cat, like have her in my hand and walk her to my car without her being like, and that's literally what she sounds like a little duck. And I took her camping, and I was like, I got our playpen for outside, and I was like, I don't know if I should, you know, let her out. And finally I was like, you know, she's inside, I'm gonna let her out, whatever. I put her in there, and not one noise. She didn't make any noises. It's helped her. I finally got to test her out. She went to heat. I haven't got my cat fixed. She went to heat, and I started using that with her, and it helped her a lot. So definitely the pet products all around I try. Even if you only have a natural at home, give it a try and see if you like how it feels with your pet. And if so, order ReAction pet tincture or capsule or salve. So unless there's any questions for tonight, I just want to let everybody know, I know the weather was bad today. I don't know if it broke up for anybody or if anybody had any issues listening to it, but we do record these videos. So if anybody needs these videos, they can reach out to support. They can reach out to us, reach out on Facebook, emails, and ask us for these videos. If you want to share them with your people that couldn't make it tonight, or if, you know, you couldn't make it tonight, just let people know that these videos are recorded. So if you want to see it, just reach out. We'll send them to you. And then with the emails, once again, my email's reaction.victoria. My name's spelled with a K, not a C. And that's at Gmail. And then Nana's is lindyhornaday33@gmail. It's in the chat bar. So if you guys need anything, just reach out to us. So thank you guys, and we will see you next week.
Good night from North Carolina.
Thank you.
You're welcome.